5 people, finding 5 different places, paying TADA to 5 teachers, it is more expensive a proposition for administration. It is much more easier and economical to transfer one principal. I think there is a learning lesson that whatever administrative style we have, at least we should not do that. So we should try to create an environment whereby people could work. But the real challenge is that how to make everyone realize to behave responsibly. And this is easier said than done. When in Delhi, this Commonwealth game, and there was this fiasco and it failed, there is one socialist who on television was saying that the root cause of all this problem is that we have a bad education system. So I'll say it. Because he said that the whole problem started because we kept on delaying everything till the last minute, and our education system, our examination system is such that where is the need to study throughout the year? We will just study just before the examination and we will pass. So that value gets so much ingrained in people that even when they became in charges of organizations of games, what I mean to say is that we are the producers of human resources, but we are also the consumers and the users of these human resources. So since we did not have a very efficient education system perhaps, so the kind of people that we are coming are not necessarily as responsible as citizens as we want them to do. So this is an additional challenge to make up for the losses or which could have been done when they were in the school, college, or the universities. Thank you very much. I think I have said what I wanted to.
Most of the things are already said. So, I think the administration in either it is in school level or it is in higher education level, there are not much differences except that the students of a school level are sometimes in certain respect easier to handle, whereas at and in certain respect they are much more difficult to handle, and the same kind of advantage and disadvantages are there with the higher learning institutions. I think there are lots of things to ponder upon, but the most important thing is the leader of the institute or leader of the school. Before talking about what this principle should be, I think we should go one step back, and in this respect, in the case of Tibetan schools, the Department of Education has a very important job to do, that is a proper selection of principal. So the selection of the principals should be done very carefully, taking into account their qualification, their experience, their records, and the vision they have. The people who doesn't have vision, they should not be, because they just to do a clerical work over there, and they give a mechanical treatment to the system. But there is certainly a great need of vision for leadership. Either it is in the school level education system, or it is in the public administration, or whatever, at the country level, wherever. So when we have leaders without vision, then we fail to accomplish most of the things that a leader should be doing. So, and after that, another job of the Department of Education is to train these leaders often on constant basis, because their exposure is extremely important. Their enhancement in their knowledge, to raise their horizon of knowledge is extremely important. If you can raise their horizon of knowledge, their understanding, and then that will enable them to have a proper vision of the school, where they want to lead the school and things like that. So for that, exposure is extremely important, and therefore I think the the Department of Education has a very significant role in in the quality and management of the school at the local level. Even at the local level, of course, the Department of Education has many things to do, from a distance mode. But at the local level, if a proper, principle is provided, then many of the works are already done. And the leader should have, as I said, a proper vision. And the most important thing that I have experienced in my life is the leader should have should be a very, minute observer of the things, whatever comes in front of him or her, and then must have a very analytic approach. So these are two very important components. And then on the top of that, he or she should have a very altruistic, attitude. Altruistic not in the sense of bodhicitta or something like that, but having concern for others, having concern for the organization, having concern for the society, and having concern for the entire stakeholders of the school or organization, right? If these three are present in the principle, then I think half of the work is done. And in whatever job or cases or events or instances they look into or they attend, then they can understand, what they should be able to understand what it should be and what it is now. For example, the quality of the education, the standard of education in a particular school, and the standard of education of a particular class of the school, and the standard of the teachers. What it should be, the principal should have a clear vision of, clear idea of what it should be, and what is now, what it is now, right? And then to link these two together, they should have a proper kind of creative approach to lead this what it is now to what it should be, right? And if they can manage, have a proper and clear picture of what these things are, what it should be and what it is now, जैसे हिंदी में कहा जाता है हम कितने पानी में हैं. So if they are really analytic and observant to understand where they are now and where they should be, so they should be able to move from that state to that should be state, right? And for that, the person needs to be really observant and analytic, and the person should be, as I said, have a constant exposure to other systems, other schools, say for example the schools within Tibetan education systems, and schools within India, and also schools outside India. May not necessarily they may visit the outside schools, but they can read the materials, and now there are the internet, so many facilities are available, and also they can have a contact with the the scholars and teachers from outside. And also I think on constant basis, I requested our previous Kanun Tiba as well to request some of the best teachers and the scholars from outside who can give lectures to the school in different schools in in say in India in our Tibetan community. And sometimes it is even better, it is good to invite such people like Richard Gere. I personally requested him that if you can visit some of our schools, that would be wonderful, because if you speak to them regarding the Tibetan culture and Buddhist philosophy and their impact on personal life and things like that, that will make a great impact on our school, students, children's mind. And if they speak, that would have certainly, as I said, a different impact, and they can present it in a much, from a very different angle. So likewise, if we have exposure, either we send our principals or teachers outside our school, or we can bring, the scholars and such people from outside and ask them to speak, then that would certainly be very, very helpful. Now, for once the person has all these kind of three elements, then either the person looks into a curriculum, or looks into the the standard of teacher, the works of the teacher, the job of the teacher, or either it is on the pedagogical the methods that a particular teacher is applying, so they can analyze it properly, they can observe it properly, and they can understand that what it should be and what it is now, and then they can bring some changes. Otherwise, if the person doesn't have any idea about what it should be, then how they are going to bring some changes? Just authoritatively they may say that you may bring some changes, and just for the sake of change, it is not something helpful, right? So there should be certain things, and and thereby the principal or the leader should be able to provide a sound atmosphere and a sound culture of learning and study and learning and teaching in the school, for the teachers and for the students, and a sound atmosphere and sound culture in the school, with the various healthy atmosphere, maintaining harmony among the staff, among the teachers, among the students, between this teacher and the staff, between the teacher and students. If they can bring manage to bring up a harmonious kind of atmosphere, a healthy culture in which is very conducive for study and teaching, then that I think would play a prominent role in the progress of the school. So as it can be maybe what I have been observing and experiencing in the past is that if you have these three elements, having concern for others, for students, teachers, and for the organization, to every stakeholders, and being very observant in nature and analytic, so then wherever you apply your mind, whatever kind of situation you confront, you can handle it very well, right? Otherwise, this is going to be a kind of the situation will put it in a very embarrassing, it could put you in an embarrassing situation. So it is for the leaders, I always feel that it is a constant practice of research. You have to be analytic all the time. You have to research the every case and situation that you confront, and then as Professor Krishna Kumarji has said, that the leader should be able to see the things in great detail, right? If he is going to start a course, or if he is going to start manage or organize an event, then he or she should have a clear picture of the details, right, from very minor things to the larger picture. And then also he should have all the solutions for the problems that are likely to arise. So if these things are if the leader has these qualities, then I think we cannot just pick up some of the situations, but these are the basic qualities having which the leader can handle any kind of situation that I have personally experienced in my life, and to be observant and to be and to be unbiased is a very, very important thing. Once you are unbiased, then you are confident to handle any kind of situation, right? Once you are biased, then you don't have a confidence to stand before anybody, right? So unbiased attitude and altruistic, minded, and then analytic. These are the qualities that a principal or the leader should have. Thank you.
Critical. Last but not least, Duke.
So, being the last, I don't know what to say. All has been said. But since your experience always unique, and you have your, I just want to share some of my experiences after reading books, after listening to great leaders, right? Leaders, at the very time, leader is very complex. It's been explained in the different ways, right? And there was a time where the leader is considered authoritative, and if you're a leader, kings and rajas, you have a huge chair, a golden chair if you're a leader, like even Lord Buddha came as, the Sakya race, because there's the purpose. Now slowly it changed. Now this is 21st century. Now it is no more, because we have a leader like Mahatma Gandhi, need no chair. He sits on the floor. But he rocked, the British. How the Churchill used to call him half-naked fakir, right? So the leader, Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King Jr., and Mandela. We have great leaders to look forward to. So the term the leader is not only the pose, it's not someone with that great persona, with the the lots of degrees, who is good orator. But the leader, what I think as a leader, is someone who is true to oneself and who can understand the defining moment. And it's like a calling. It's a calling. It's not just a profession. Something which cannot be connoted or explained in terms. So you know your thing best. And the most important thing I consider the leader is, especially in the institutions, the educational institution, leaders should be very compassionate. Someone mentioned, Gela mentioned, compassionate. And suppose if you have to deal with the human beings, not with the objects and all, but the human beings, they have feelings. So you should be able to put yourself in another shoe who can empathize. Suppose if you're looking through the window, from my window I can see whenever the students come and the staff come. Okay, the 2 or 3 students have some problem, but they get the mobile, and they come. I can see from far they're coming to my office. Now, your mind, you think, okay, 2 children are coming to my office, then I'm going to listen compassionately. Suppose in the premises, okay, of coming, if you have in your mind, all right, those 2 mischievous boys, they're coming, I'm going to really be tough. It changes completely. So you should have that empathy. I was a student once, if you think that I was students once in my life, I wandered back to my previous life, I have committed lots of mistakes, right? See these creative students, so like the leader should be compassionate and compassionate listener. Because the students and the staff know very well, the leaders, they know very well if you are not genuine to yourself. Leader can be some bossy leader, okay. Leader will be very verbose, okay. Leader will be very timid. Some are like a dramatic, some are shy. So long as if your genuine heart to help someone, if you can really, from the depth of the heart, that whatever you are doing for the good of others, you are sacrificing, if they can sense it, because they are human beings, they have feelers, they can sense it, then everything will be okay, right? Even if you shout. And leaders should sometimes be able to, accept the mistakes, and should be, when at the end of the day, when you go back home, and you look at what you did, and should be, laugh with the heart out loud. So you should be able to laugh at his own mistakes. The leader should be like that also. Consider. And the leader, of course, the vision. Of course, there's a purpose being appointed as a leader. There has to be a vision. For example, TCD school, we have a vision. The vision has to be very clear. Leader should have. And then the leader should be able to communicate that and to make every stakeholders to understand clearly within their own level what is the mission and the vision of the school. That is very important. Sometimes we be very busy, then parents were busy, students were busy. Busy for what? With no purpose. So leadership is someone who is able to communicate, who is able to transmit this mission, the message down there, so that all the works will be focused one direction. And the leaders, and of course the leader needs to be available. It's not that you sit on the chair and then you come on, no. Leader has to be available. Walking manager, this is what I heard, walking manager. And I practice it. It really helps. Suppose, if you really want to see something goes wrong, what happens, it's a natural during monsoon, especially in Dharamsala. If you do not check anything, your carbon blankets you piled up, if you forget, if you ignore for 1 week, it'll be mildewed. There's lots of fungus. Even the fungus will attack you if you are not active. So you need to be, it's natural. there's a life. So you need to be very active. So go everywhere and see. Say, for example, this is what I do. Okay, this is what I encourage other leaders to do, like in management teams to do. Like we have homes and hostels, and then eat my lunch with the staff members. We have delegated teachers to homes and eat lunch with them. It's not that I'm going there to scrutinize, to check, evaluate. No, going there to meal and talk with the students, being with the staff and check the whole world out. So available. So students are working there in the field, be there. Talk with them. And you don't have to wait for the students to come to my office, to come to the office to advise them. While working, just keep them a pat, and say, and whatever advice is on the way, like it says, the sage on the stage, there's an altar there, and it's better to be a guide on the side. Yeah, this is it. So that is, I consider it's very important. I practice it, and it makes difference, lots of difference. Because we have to create an atmosphere at homes in the school where students, there's a fearless, they have to speak. Sir, your first name. And then whatever fun, the joy, the humor, and the sadness. You should be someone with like a cushion. Let them speak, let them, whatever problem, so you should absorb it and synthesize it. And then something useful, helpful should come out. So leader has to be something like that. It's like a mother at home. A baby, a child, a lady, okay, the girls and a daughter and their son, they'll say anything to the mother, but then deep down there, like everything will be absorbed. This is what I used to tell home mothers. Sometimes there's a conflict and say, oh, not listening. So make sure, because they have no parents, they are wounded, they have come from Tibet, when they have a problem, they will say something bad to you, but you should be composed enough, compassionate enough to absorb everything and do something and send some good vibration back. So leaders should be like that. And sense of humor. I'm very happy to be, in this group. Lots of humor here. So, it energizes. So humor, it's a sense of humor. It's very important, because even the teacher, I used to tell the teacher, that sense of humor makes, the students very close to it, because it has no barrier. What do you call it? Whatever inhibitions and everything, it removes them. It gets removed, vaporizes. And proactive, of course. Leader needs to be proactive. So you don't wait for someone, like from higher authority, like in our case, in the head office, to come and call us and do this. No. If I see that something is going wrong, if I see that, there's a defining moment when it, do it, and then we'll call and say, what solutions we need, what can we do it, and then we solve, and then bold enough, strong enough, it head office said, no, it can be done. I said, why? This is it, we need it, we are working here, and then they will advise that, we'll discuss, put forward the issue up there, and then they understand, okay, this is it, you carry out. That's why yesterday I said, okay, lots of freedom has been given to me to execute my leadership, to learn there as well. And then the leadership. So it is also, I think it's very important, sometimes there's a driving force, always learning, the yearning to learn, to improve, educate. Because the first time when I was told that you have to be, the head of the one institution, elite institution, magnet, it's really, it's very frightening. I had lots of days of sleepless nights, many sleepless nights. But later on, I felt, yes, someone trusted me. That Amala trusted me, the head office trusted me. They believe that in my potential, so I have to do something. I don't have to do alone. I have a teamwork. I believe it. And then I thought, what are my weaknesses? I tried to find out. I have no training in the leadership training. Of course, I was a teacher for many years. That itself is a training, but not specifically as the school leader, as a principal and the headmaster. So every week, when it's to buy books, lots of read. And the Robin Sharma was one of the good inspiration for me, right? A leader with a title. Yeah. There's so many good books out. Then His Holiness book, the Leader's Way, There's so many books out there, good to great. So I read those. And there's one book, I don't know how to pronounce it. You must have read it, Abondo or something, Abondo, from Africa. It's about the culture of Africa. Ubuntu. That's a great book, yes. That's a great book. It's about the human, the culture. We're treating everyone as a human. That culture. So when you read this book, so what I'm trying to say here, so leaders should be hungry, like a Ulysses, always hungry for knowledge, trying to improve the knowledge. And when you do that, then you gain the confidence. And of course, one most important thing is a leader should be able to assess it, able to see, because details, minute details. And of course, if you are fully engrossed all these minute details, then whole your time will be absorbed by this, and then you won't get the use for higher thinking order. That's why delegation. The first time because Gila knows it, when I was translating for the monks, that time Gopalpur, they were scientists from America, and they were monks, and I was doing translation work in Tibetan, they speaking science, English, that I was translating, and I was told, that Gela told me, now you have to go there. And then I told the monks and the scientists, now I'm going there, advise me. I'll be the leader there, good school there. And then tell me. The first advice they give me, delegation. So this is it. So I have learned, because there was a frustration period. Now this is the 10th year running, and the 9th year running, and in between I had lots and lots of frustration. Lots and lots of frustration. During the meeting I said, okay, I don't want to be a leader. Now I want to decline from the principal. Madam knows. Many times I said, I want to go back to my teaching job. Love it. Why? Because that time I was unable to delegate well. Now later on I have learned the skill of delegating, and then the job becomes easier, more meaningful, and got more time. Yes. So it has delegation of the work. And also a certain workshop, like I try to read. Then there's a Bobby Saga. Bobby Saga, last time I mentioned it, Bobby Saga, who was sponsoring also Mind and Life and all. And he told me, Duke, I'm not a scientist. I've studied business from the Yale School. I'll be able to teach you, not a science, but I'll teach you how to make money. I said, I don't want that. And then he told me, 2080, what he calls a Pareto theory, 2080. Said, use that. 2080, 20% of your work, it has to be so good that it will cover up the 80% of your work. So I purchased the book and I read that. I read that. It's amazing. You should read leaders, how to judiciously use your timing. And then also last time when we got the leadership quality, it's very important. We should know this graph, say, able to identify. This leader should, sometimes you get frustrated because of lack of squeezing of the time. Important and urgent, urgent and important, and then not urgent and important, and important but not urgent. So I, with that workshop, and I try to put into practice lots of my work, at the planning stage, which is important but not urgent. At that time, about 70% of my work, I put it there. And then, suppose at that time, if it keep on procrastinating my work as a leader, there's lots of work, I said, tomorrow I'll do it, as my secretary will do it, like that. If I keep on procrastinating, all this this shrinks and it goes to the level of urgent and important. And you cannot you get frustration. And then delegation work comes when it is urgent but not important. There are so many works, so you have to send an email and this and that. And then you say, you delegate the work like that. So you have to be, it really, if you read and there are so many experts there and try to implement that, it really helps. And also, the trust that I talk about, the Finland, about the trust-based. You should trust your colleagues. You should trust your students, okay? And believing that every staff members and every student's a good person. They have a potentials. Believing in that. I believe that very strongly because I consider there's no good or bad. Those are not bad people, only the circumstances. I believe very strongly on this because I consider in my own life's journey, I've, so there's ups and downs, and I've realized it is very important to help them. Maybe always there's a reason behind. When a student does something, there's a reason behind. And your colleagues to be able to talk, to be able to discuss with their colleagues. We have a Indian Mr. Tilak, gatekeeper the Tilak, Mr. Qatar Singh, very old, like gardener, then Mr. Bull Singh, the peon, and then the Radha, the peon, the office peon with Mr. Bull Singh, and the Vikas, the gardener, and talk to them, and be nice to be able to see them, how hard they were. And then we organized, like during the Mahatma Gandhi's birthday, we treat them as our chief guests, treat them as a guest. They have to bring their family members, they come as the family members, and the students, they prepare something, and then instead of calling a very important, like someone up, we call Qatar Singh, elderly person there, talks about, gardening. He knows because he has no degree, but and that really gives helps the students to really see what exactly is school. So school is the place where, as you said, to let everything, like the joyful learning should take place. And to become, this is what His Holiness always said, the school is where, like a human quality, love and compassion, everything has to flourish, right? So leader should be like that, I think. And always learning, always passion, believing in oneself, being true to oneself, achievable. I believe that. Thank you so much.
We go into the next session, which is deliberating all the ideas. I think we're going to take a break here to fill in the forms that are in front of you so that the ideas are still fresh in your mind, in our minds, and I think it shows leadership quality of the organizers immediately. And as we saw, delegate. One of the big important aspects of leadership is to delegate. So they have got that back. But as we saw in the last session, a lot on school management was on leadership. Leadership opportunities for students, leadership opportunities for teachers, leadership opportunities for the Department of Education, but hugely the onus on the head of the school to actually move that system forward, move every single individual pixel forward, because a system can only be as strong as its weakest link. And that is the crucial situation. So in a school, when the head is looking at the teachers, every single teacher has a very crucial role to play. Every single student has a role to play in creating the environment in which learning takes place, and every single school has a role to play. So I'm not going to, we've come out. So I'm just going to say that thank you very much. Sitting up here was nice. But also must say, and I must use this opportunity to thank the organizers for putting together an amazing group of people. And I think I speak on behalf of everybody here that it was really invigorating 2 days. Hats off to all of you for creating this opportunity and this environment in so much learning, in which so much learning has happened. Thank you so much, and thank you all of you for this. Thank you.